Hello, hello, hello. Today we're gonna go over Chinese Tier 8 premium tank. The bringer of doom, the absolute abnormal, I don't know, monster type of tank. And it's called the BZ-176 or 176 or just 176. It's kind of weird to say BZ, I don't know. It doesn't come off the tongue really cleanly, I would say. And this tank is an absolute powerhouse. Again, of course we get a powerhouse tank when it comes to these new Christmas boxes. Let's just call them that. Loot boxes. And this tank is... it's a favorite of the, I would say, the KV2 players out there. Because this tank has the incredible armor. It has relatively, you know, okay speed if you counterfact in the rockets that we will go over a little bit. And then it has the gun. The gun is ridiculous. The gun has high alpha, 650 on AP. But let's just see how much HE or HESH alpha it has. Let me see on this IS-3. 858, yeah. 800 alpha. Yeah, that sounds nice. Oh man, this tank. But let's just go into stats directly on this tank. Let's go over the gun, like I talked about. 650 on the AP, 208 pen on the AP shell, 860 shell velocity. So you have relatively, like, you have very high alpha for this tank. You have on the HESH, which is gonna be your primary shell, you have 806. No, you're 800 alpha, sorry. I read my notes wrong here. 800 alpha, 225 pen, and 760 shell velocity. So you have a faster AP shell, well, very slightly faster, nothing that you're gonna really notice with your blink of your eyesight. But the HESH has just that slightly more pen, so you probably just gonna end up using the HESH round all the time. And the only time that AP is going to be useful is when you kind of need to overmatch something, like the roof of this tank, or when people sometimes side scrape, you kind of want to launch in an AP shell then. I'm going to try an AP shell on this 8015, looking very ambitiously on the lower plate there, the 1815 to hope to pen it. And then you have, well, this is a hull down freak of a nature tank, I would say. Because it's so easily to hide the cupola. We will go more into detail when we get to the garage about the armor layout and such. Almost penned the cupola there with the HE, with the HESH, and it looked like it penned, but nope, it would miss that with a millimeter. The gun depression is -10, so it's very comfortable in hull down, of course. But, otherwise, it wouldn't be a hull down freak of a nature type of tank. But you also got 20 gun elevation, so you can really shoot up with this tank as well, which really comes to my mind. Because, like, you see on the top of the tank, the horn, as some people like to call it, it lifts up when you look down. Like, how... like, how is it inside the tank that it lifts up that much too? I don't know, man. Magic. But you could see there, the sort of gimmick feature of this tank is the rockets that we're launching away. The rockets, I would say, let's dive into them a little bit here. The rockets is very good for a slow tank like this, because you can really nullify the fact that when you kind of climb up hills, you're going very slowly go climbing hills here. And on flat ground, your top speed is 30, so you kind of match that all the time, so you don't really need to push the rockets there. But the rockets, you get up to a 44 kilometers is your top speed there with the rockets. Without the turbo is this as well. So you can really surprise people with like going uphill on Malinovka or going uphill on Himmelsdorf, which I have done numerous times, and you can really take people off guard. You are really quick when it comes to those long hill climbings. Also about the rockets, you cannot go backwards when they're on. I have tested that. So you kind of stay in your tracks, sort of thing, when you put the brakes on. And your turning is dog shit. It's absolutely bad. It's just really, really, really bad when it when you try to turn, as I will showcase probably around this corner. And also the rockets, you cannot start them under the water when you start drowning, sort of when the here I stop and then I put the forward again, and you can see like you barely notice the stop. And here we take 1-2 hits from the tank destroyers, and I'm like, uh-oh, need to get out of here. Use the rockets. And waiting a little bit, there we go. Oh. Alright, we didn't pen him, but we did crucial damage on him. So you cannot start the rockets under the water, but you can start rockets above the water, so sort of when you sort of half drowning or whatever you want to call it, like when you just fill up a little bit water in the tank, you can start the rockets and kind of dash your way out of it, but you cannot dash your way out of it in the water. I know this because scientific research have happened, and I did not drown. And the rockets have served this other kind of feature as well. If you have sound detection on the tank, and you see an artillery shell incoming, and you know you're like, oh, I'm in no man's land, but artillery shell incoming, just rockets W. And then you get out of the way from the artillery. It happened to me a few times here, actually. In my testing of the tank. What else to say more about the tank for this before we jump into the next game? As you can see, we scored in a 4k damage here. And we got some really nasty shots. Even got some spotting here, trying to snatch the kill of the LTTB here at the very end. But it's a formidable tank. Absolutely formidable tank. We'll talk more about armor in the next game, when they finally clear up this LTTB. If they can clear up this LTTB. No? They have to take their time? Alright. But let's hop into the next game. And we're gonna see a little bit more RNG favor. And here we are on Karelia, and we seem to have a little bit of a bug with the replay. But nevertheless, this game is showcasing both how to be lucky and how to utilize this tank a little bit more than usual, I would say. But let's just get into the big thing of this tank, and that is the armor. The hull armor is 240 frontal, 152 on the side, 60 in the back. So yes, that means you can side scrape like crazy. And it's really tough to pen the frontal plate on this tank. I mean, you have a lower plate, but then it's kind of a lower plate that melts in with the frontal plate, so sometimes you can get tricked if you don't have the pen marker on. So you kind of see, like, you see a little bit wrong. Alright, here we go, first shot. Easy. Easy. That's how we do it, just rocket and shoot, man. Oh my god. And the turret also, the hull armor, well, like I said, you can side scrape with it, and you can bounce a lot of shells. And then you have the turret armor. You have 250 on the front, 152 on the side, and 60 on the back. So it's just copy paste. It's just added 10 more armor in the turret. So you have ridiculous armor going on with this tank. And the bad thing, the weak spots don't exist almost. You have some tiny weak spot on the left and right side. You can see the cupolas, but they are so easily to hide because it's so far back on the turret. So when you peek in even just a half pull down, like -5 degrees, you hide them, so you can't get shot in the weak spots. And it just makes it boring to play against, but it makes, you know, a little bit fun to play, not gonna lie. And oh my god, what is going on with this? Oh my god, replay bug, I love it. It looks like the T95 has a turret. It looks like it's a T103. Does it happen again? Yep. I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna try and continue recording with these awesome new outlines. I don't know where it's from. And here I'm just saying, you know, shoot me. You see, I want to test the armor. And you can see that flap, or the horn, as some people want to call it. I think I like the word, calling it the horn. When the gun sort of elevates downwards, it flips up that sort of cardboard or the board. And no, it's not a weak spot. It's so shame that it's not a weak spot, because movable weak spots is probably the next thing wargaming should look into and to have. They can be very hard and very kind of annoying to shoot at, but at least they're there. And they're, oh wow, oh wow. Talk about having RNG on my side here. That was a disgusting shot. Wow. I'll take that. I'll take that artillery shell. So the only way you can really pen this flap or the horn of the tank is with a gun that has above 124 millimeter. So not your 122s, not your 120s or 122s, which is a lot of tanks have these days, 120, 122. So you have to be above that, so 125 and above. And it's just a few amount of tanks that have that. One tank that pops up into mind is Skoda 56. That you can just go and smash it. The very horn of the tank. And other than that, it's just big tier 10s, big tank destroyers, which makes it very, very, very boring, honestly. Because if that was a weak spot, it would be a way to kind of fight against this tank. Because a lot of times when you play this tank, you just peek over a hill, and then you look at the target, and you're like, I can maybe shoot there, okay, shoot there, and you take your time, and the target in front of you is panicking, he can't find a weak spot, he's trying to shoot, he's trying to angle him, he tried to spin around, he tried to side script, he tried to flip around his tank, he tries to run, and while you're having a, you know, a sip of tea, and then you're deciding, okay, there's a weak spot, and then click, 800 gone. And you've been sitting there and bounced for, you know, I don't know, 2,780 perhaps. Ooh, I'm getting spotted here because I was a little bit lazy. I was like, I don't want to go all the way up to the zero line and then go down to attack them. So I thought, okay, just cross the middle here real quickly and sort of cut the run time. We have the rockets still around, so let's use them for our quick dashing here. Is perfect with the rockets here. Oh, we took a hit anyway. Ooh, we could have died on that crossing almost. Oh, that's very tight there. We are a big and chunky boy though. We are very wide people happy, as chat like to call it. So the armor is like the problem that many people have, and also me about the tank. I wish it didn't do this much armor on it. I wish they had that horn. I wish they could nerf it, make it so you can have an easier time penning it. Otherwise, it's kind of it gets boring. It gets boring fighting against it. But we can go over some other stats of the tank. You have 380 view range. I don't have full view range here because I'm grinding up the field mods. But it's kind of easy to get full view range on this tank. Oh my god, that T-28 looks so weird. It looks like the super box. And there you have the problem with the Hesh rounds. When you try to shoot in the back, then you don't pen. So, for example, there an AP shell would have done damage. I hope. I can't really tell exactly where my shell landed. But it's kind of easy to get full view range. It's a premium tank. You need to get down to the third slot of the field modification, and then boom, you have full view range with this tank. I think with whatever equipment you put on, but that's for the garage section of the video. You have 600 horsepower. Doesn't sound much. I don't know how much you get extra with the rockets, but it must be like double it or something. What is this panther? Oh my god. Oh my god, I love it. These outlines reminds me of Onslaught. Like outlines with some bugs with that. And also I know recently with the bug line, front line, also had some crazy outlines going on. We keep this panther in check. Oh, artillery took him out. Feels good, man, feels good. And you have a reverse speed of 15, which is surprisingly, like, okay for this tank. You can even boost it up a little bit more. I mean, obviously, if you use a turbo, you can be even faster when it comes to that. And here I'm kinda... Oh, I'm thinking the Pantera is maybe gonna peek from the top there to spot me. But he tried to exit right away, so, you know... Shame I didn't read into that right away. Yeah, he was very low hit points. I'm telling him to Brask to go. You can take that area. And artillery took out the Pantera. as I'm waiting for here. Oh, and now I realize it. I see my Waffe moving up, and there's a T-20 spotted on my side here. I'm just waiting for Waffen to see if he gets spotted or spot something before I try to do this crossing. To go for the T-20. So you have around 30 shells in the tank as well. I mean, 15 is kind of easy to pick with this. But I think I will go with a 10-20. Here, I'm not trying to be proxy spotted before I sort of get behind the rock. And I also thought I can go and shoot this T-20 before the Burask, but I guess I should have gone straight for him. Oh my god. Oh my god, these outlines. They're just getting more and more, I don't know, weirder. Every time we look at something new. How is this one? Oh, that one looks new. Oh. I remember at this point I was talking in my stream about, oh, you can use the rockets to dodge a tiller, because I'm thinking the GV tiger is gonna shoot at me. And then I find the target, and then I get shot by artillery, and then I don't dodge. Oh man, unfortunately. But this is a sort of also a good area to kind of use the rockets at. You see the slow hill incline coming in here, and it's going to sort of drag us down quite a bit, and that's where you earn a most amount of time when you go uphill in these slow tanks. As I'm losing a little bit of speed now, 26, 25, 24, boom, rockets. And then we go 40 plus for almost 10 seconds. And made it up there. That's a kind of a long stretch actually that you can use the rockets on. So the rockets have a actually really good use. And I thought when the rockets first would come out that they would be like, nah, it would be like a little bit dash there, 4 seconds dash or something like that. But these are like 10 seconds. These are actually monumental. And you can really use it to sort of get around the place or get ahead of people, or you can also use the rockets to ram. I'll show a clip of when rockets are not so useful to ram before we hop into the garage. And here we kind of thinking the tiger is probably, oh, he is around there, and the tiger has no hull apparently. But we score a nasty hit on him. The tiger here is a little bit unaware on what to do. Yeah, I think he's getting tricked by the lower plate. It's like 2 plates. I'll show that in the garage as well. Oh, 2-shotting a tiger, man. Disgusting. And there goes the T95. So let's check that out, and then we hop into the garage. Even though it's not the side of a view from the BZ-176 and how to not ram, I just had to showcase this. How to not look good when you try to ram someone with your rockets. Oh, but he still got the last laugh on me. And he hit at the very end of my tank. I have to showcase. Very end of my tank, right here. So it could have been a dodge, but it wasn't, unfortunately. But let's hop into the garage. Welcome to the cozy township, where we're gonna go over the BZ-176 in the garage. We have the crew, the equipment, the shells, the consumables, the field modification to go over. Let's just start with the crew. It's a 4-man crew of men and ladies. And you have the commander, who is the radio operator as well. So we want to pick brothers in arms, repair, situational awareness, recon, and then sound detection or firefighting. Sound detection is more of that gimmick kind of thing, but it kind of works out with the, if you have some rockets left, like I talked about in the video, where you can kind of speed boost away real quickly. For the gunner, you pick snapshot, brothers in arms, repair, firefight, no, dead eye, then firefighting. And the concealment is just something that I have from the BZ-5A. I should have had probably a dead eye on the BZ-5A as well. But the dead eye with this insane caliber 160 do we have on this tank, which is ridiculous caliber, to be honest, to put on a tank. I mean, there's usually those reserved for those big tank destroyers, or really, big tank destroyers that have 155 and upwards in their calibers. But no, this has 160, so you can overmatch quite a bit. Probably new angles out there that you can overmatch. And the driver is smooth ride, broaden arms, repair, clutch brake, and off-road driving. All of those things are really good. This thing does not turn so good, actually. You could pick off-road driving before clutch braking, and then for the sixth one, I guess firefighting for the driver. You could also maybe sneak in controlled impact if you feel like you want to meme around and try and ram people with the rockets. I mean, why the hell not? And the loader is quite important to have. I would actually start with Brothers in Arms, repair, then intuition, and then I would look into safe storage or adrenaline rush. Or I would have it like me having intuition at the very end. Actually, no, I would rather have intuition earlier. Man, I'm contradicting myself. But that's because you do want to switch between AP and HESH, but it's not the end of the world. If you don't have intuition, just load more HESH and you'll stick around with that, because you're gonna do damage even if you don't, get the target or hit the target where you want it to be hit. So it's very good to have it. So it's a little bit around. Adrenaline rush is something that you don't really need. It's something that I left in there. For the equipment, I like to go the ventilation, vert stab, and rammer. Just straight up. You get full view range, you get a little bit boost of everything. It's just very nice. For the second type of equipment, we can easily pick either improved hardening, if you feel like we need to be more of those on maps like Himmelsdorf or let's say Ensk or Tundra, or maps that are very small but also calls down for this grind fighting. Actually, where you sort of grind the enemy down with your gun and you're slowly killing them. And with improved hardening, just gonna allows us to kind of stay here for a longer period of time. You could also be, open map, just smash in that turbo, have that little bit higher top speed. I think you go up to what, 48? Something like that, I think. 48 must be, with the top speed with the rockets on. So this could be kind of interesting. And I would stick with one of these two. I don't see much else. No, don't think you're a sniper. Don't use this. Don't think you're a sniper. No, stop. So one of these two I will pick as a secondary. Right now, I'm gonna pick the improved hardening and smash that in my tank. We don't get full view range with this build, which is kind of unfortunate. But it just goes to show that, this tank doesn't really need a full view range, but we got lots of hit points now. And then we have the shells, which is, I like to have 10, 20. I've never been close to shoot all my 20 shells. And yes, they do cost 7,200, not 8,000 I was told, but 7,200. So they're quite expensive, but they are well worth it. The consumables, we don't have fire extinguisher, we just use the food on it, repair, and first aid kit. For the field modification, we want to pick the all-terrain suspension because it's just one of the best ones out there. I mean, it's just really good. It makes this tank way quicker. Every tank makes it almost way quicker, except for very few exceptions. And then we want to use the smaller aiming circle because it just negates the fact of the aiming time. It helps more than the aiming gears lapping, which is bad. And then we want to have the full view range where we get with the periscope electric drive. And for the last one, we want to use our XP to get the boost, and we want to boost the firepower. We could boost the mobility if we pick the turbo, but no. Let's go back to the garage, and we want to boost the vertical stabilizer. In my books, it's better to boost the vertical stabilizer on such a slow shooting tank anyway. You don't get too much from the rammer. If we put it in the rammer slot, yeah, we earn 0.4. Okay, 0.2. It doesn't show. Is it improved ventilation? No, the gun rammer just gets the slight improvement. It's just 0.4. It's just a small minor thing that's almost never gonna play to a factor. While the vertical stabilizer is always gonna play into a factor. So giving this the 3%, it's better than giving this the 0.4 that we're getting from the reload, so it's a very minor thing. But that's my review of the BZ-176. This tank, I have a lot of fun in when I'm playing it, but I wish it had a weak spot. I wish this stayed as a weak spot throughout its development. That would make this tank hell of a lot more better for the game. Now it feels it's here to ruin the fun for someone while you gain the fun to that. But overall, it's a good tank. It's a really good tank, actually. It's a very powerful tank. The only time it's not powerful is when it's solo, but most often on the maps now, you're never gonna be solo if you kind of stick in with the where usually people go. You have a reload of just below 20 seconds, so it's like the old KV2. I forgot to say that during the entire video. But that's it for me. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned because I got even more tank reviews coming up of Christmas box tanks.